Hey everyone, happy Sunday. I wanted to do an update video on ICP. I did an in-depth analysis about 6 days ago and I wanted to show you how the progress has been. This is the daily chart. And as you can see, we are currently in a demand zone depicted by this light blue box. And we are below the localized point of control, and we are still within this downward sloping triangle or wedge formation. Taking a look at the oscillators, you can see that the money flow index on the market cipher indicator is in the red. We are on a downward sloping momentum wave that has not printed green yet. You can also see that the stochastic RSI is on the downtrend. We did diverge. We may diverge again for the fake out before we turn positive again. The money flow index is in the negative below 50, and we do have a downward trending RSI at around 43. If we take a look at the MACD, I'm going to open it up to make it easier to look at. You can see we did diverge. We do have negative momentum on the histogram, and we did have a MACD FU here where it looked like it wanted to diverge to the upside, and it faked out and is now pointing mostly to the downside. And this really points to consolidation over the past week. And looking back at the price, you can see that's exactly what it did. So this is the daily. So we'll go back 6 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is where I did my analysis. And I said I was bearish to neutral. And I think that was appropriate for the price action. We stayed within this demand zone below the point of control, and we consolidated, which could be construed as neutral because we really didn't have any significant dips down like we have before, like something like this over here. Taking a look, we can see, looking at the simple moving averages, we do have support with the 200-day. So again, this is not the greatest coin when it comes to strength. Like I said in the previous video, there are other stronger coins out there, and there might be many reasons for that. I can't really say why ICP is acting this way, other than it has some history with huge dumps when it actually had its initial coin offering. And there's been other rumblings as far as the team, but I don't have all the details on that. So we are below the other significant moving averages. We are basically have resistance with the 20-day simple moving average. We have the 50-day up here, and then up at this supply zone with this volume node, we have the 100-day simple moving average. So this coin has a lot of work to do. And what I would expect to see based off how this chart has played off already is I would expect to probably continue to consolidate within this range, maybe even come all the way down to this area and this area of demand. Eventually break out, retest, continue up, probably come back down to this node right here, volume node right over here, and continue our way up. Test, come to this node, and then come up to this area of supply over here. Probably come back down, retest this area, and then continue our way up. That would be how I would expect this to play out under the ideal conditions. However, that really is situationally dependent on the macroeconomic situation and how that plays out, as well as how Bitcoin performs. So the other way that this could play out is we could go to the downside, and I'm not expecting that, but we could come here, hit this area of demand, come out of the triangle, retest as resistance, and then come down. So that's the two scenarios that we could see play out of this triangle formation. And of course, the other situation is what ends up happening is, we just lose momentum for whatever reason, and we just continue outside of the triangle, consolidating above this demand zone, but below the point of control. But if that price action continues that way with volume, that would bring the point of control down, and that would really just change the whole structure of the chart. That's not really a high probability situation when it comes to this Bitcoin. Taking a look at the 4-hour time frame, we did have some interesting patterns form. We broke out of this falling wedge, which created a rising wedge, which we did drop out of. We consolidated, and that ended up forming into a bear flag that did not play out. We did have a hidden inverse head and shoulders that formed, and again, that really didn't play out, and that really has to do with the decreasing volume throughout the week and the weekend. There just hasn't been a whole lot of interest as far as trading ICP within big ranges. Again, we are below that point of control, but within this area of demand inside this larger triangle formation. When we come down to the 1-hour time frame, you can see that we do have a hidden falling wedge pattern that is basically overlapping with this bear flag that is pretty much no longer a concern. And I would expect more consolidation down to the lower areas of this area of demand before we do have a breakup to the upside. And what that'll probably look like is something like this. We could potentially get resistance at the point of control and the upper portion of this falling wedge, eventually break out, hit the resistance of the triangle, use the point of control as support, break out, do a reconfirming retest as resistance for that triangle, hit this area of supply, maybe hit this volume node, and then eventually break out, which would be consistent with the higher time frame or the daily chart. So that's something that I would expect. The other thing that could occur if there is weakness in the market going into Monday is we could continue to consolidate within this triangle. And then worst case scenario, we do break out, retest somewhere around this area of secondary demand, which is at about the 10.7 down to the 9.8 area. And that would be bearish. That would not be good for the coin at all. So there is some weakness here. We're going to probably continue to consolidate within this triangle and this area of demand. Hopefully, it's probably going to be around this point of control is probably what's going to end up happening. And if we zoom in here, we can get a better view of what the actual situation is for confirmation, which is what I like to use is the Ichimoku cloud, but I'll get rid of the all pattern here. And as you can see, as we zoom in here, the lagging span is free and clear, but as you can see, the previous action has been in and out of price action since May. Wow, I mean, this goes back all the way. This has been consolidating since May 23rd. So it's been about a week and a half of consolidation where we don't have any confirming factor up or down. And I think this is going to continue to occur until Bitcoin breaks out, whether that's to the upside or to the downside. So I am more neutral than bearish at this point. So we've moved from bearish to neutral to basically neutral. And until we get some more confirming factors and get some more volume next week, that's my stance, and that'll probably change once we get into the Asian session. But that is my consensus right now, is neutral. So if you have any other questions or concerns, please let me know. And if you have any requests for other coins and chart analysis, send them my way. All right, thanks. Bye.